this fragrance should be illegal, and I'm gonna tell you why. But before we get into that, welcome back to Smell Check-In, where we do the reviewing so you can do the choosing. And look, I'm not talking about any of the toxins or how it can make you sick or anything, but I am talking about how dangerously addictive and sexy this fragrance is. It doesn't make any sense. I gotta be honest, when I first smelled this fragrance, I was not too impressed, and it could be for a combination of things. We always talk about hype fragrances and how once you smell them, it's kind of a bias there, right? Because your expectations are so high. At the same time, I also only smell this fragrance in the store, and that's why I gotta drive home the point, guys. You gotta get samples of these things. In the store, there's so much going on. You got a person trying to sell you stuff. You're probably behind on your shopping. You probably got something to do at home. You may be rushing home to get to the kids, get to the wifey, get to the hubby. Whatever the situation is, I don't think smell testing in the mall, in the store is the best option. Get a sample and try them on in your house. That way you can actually live with the fragrance. You could get the smell on scent, you get the dry down scent. Also, a lot of times when you're doing those smell tests, you're also smelling other things. You have everybody coming up to you, spraying you with different things. You can't even remember the names of it at the end of the day. So I highly recommend that you get your hands on any fragrance that you want to buy, unless it's like a blind buy safe kind of thing where you know like a trillion influencers or a trillion reviews have already told you this thing is the truth. If it's the type of scent profile that you like, and you know it's like an 80 to 90% chance that you're gonna like the fragrance, yeah, go ahead, blind buy it, test it on in the shop. But for those ones that you like 50-50 about, get your hands on, because it's a whole different experience when you can actually live with them, sit down, wear them daily, see how people react. It's worth the money. Look, and I got 2 sample sets here today. If you haven't guessed already, we'll be talking about Initio Side Effect. This is a fan favorite. This is one of those ones that everybody kept talking about. I love going and trying new brands or brands that are new to me at least. And Initio kept coming up. The bottles, it was a little questionable for me. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't overly hyped about the bottles. You know, they got the logo here. It's a little gothic. It's a little, you know what I'm saying, a little darkish for me. But the proof is in the pudding, guys. And this thing, oh my goodness, this brand does not fail the hype. It's like one of my favorites when it comes to potency. I like them a lot because they're risk takers. A lot of their fragrances are a bit hit or miss, but the overall brand I think is very nice when it comes to quality, when it comes to the variety that they have. So like I said, yeah, today we're gonna get into Side Effect and seeing how that thing is. And just so you guys know, this is the type of stuff that they're coming out with now about this fragrance. I see this thing that had me dying laughing, but I can concur. It is one of those ones. It is one of those that's gonna get you compliments, extreme compliment magnet. It's impressive, it's loud, and all of those things wrapped together. So let's jump right into it. Now, as you can see, guys, everything with this brand, they try to make it a real luxury experience, a high-end experience. They get the little hieroglyphic. I don't know if you can see that well on this one, but you can see like this little it's hard to say the word, hieroglyphic type of thing going on here. And this is one of the samples that come here. I think it's about, what, 12 of these things? Then I got extra ones because I need to re-up on another scent that I thought I might like, and we'll talk about that one another day. But here we go, guys. Side Effect, man. Side Effect. And that effect we just seen, they may have been spot on with that name. So, got some on here. One of the juiciest openings that you're going to get is just, I call this thing instant offense. It's one of those colognes that just jump straight up at you. And that's why I believe, even though I know it was a skit, I believe you have that type of effect that we seen in that video. Even some effects is very like subtle. This thing is almost like a chess game. It's almost like a mind game. All the effects aren't going to be somebody jumping all over you and having that crazy reaction. But at the same time, it is going on mentally. It is going on in the people around your head. And I definitely think this is one of those scents that you absolutely are getting an effect. Sometimes like that, just straight up, straightforward, bold, and sometimes subtly, quietly in the background, and the people's around you, you know, subconscious or whatever. But either way, it's one of those scents because look, I don't know about you guys, but me, I don't like scents that I put them on and I have to kind of worry if people can even smell them. Some scents are like that. Other scents like this are one of those that you put on, you don't have to worry. Tobacco Vanilla is another one. Ombre Nomad is another one. There's a good amount of these things that once they are on, you know that you're getting the effect that you need. Zahara from Creed, the latest Creed, one of the latest Creeds, is one of those. And man, this is one of those ones. Extremely impressive, bold, dark, a little mysterious. And I think one thing that the opener really has going on for itself is it's said to be a tobacco fragrance, and a tobacco is, you definitely get that. So you get that kind of slight spicy smokiness in the notes, but people don't say enough about how the fruit sense in this really like bring it to the forefront. I think that's what really differentiates it from like a tobacco vanilla. And look, guys, I have a bunch of tobacco fragrances that I really enjoy. Tobacco vanilla is one of them. Red tobacco is another one. Honey tobacco from Guerlain is another one. I think red tobacco is Montelli or Marcena, one of them. But these are some of my favorite tobaccos. And besides that honey tobacco, this like really, it's like an exaggerated version of that. And of course, not using honey. This thing has some sweetness to it. And guys, that boozy component to it just adds another layer. Like that thing is up there with the angel shears. It's there, but to me, it's a bit more complicated because it's adding in a couple other notes, and that tobacco booziness. It's a nice addition, but I love how it doesn't take it over the board. It takes it to that special place where it's a special scent, but it doesn't take it over the board where, again, it's not unisex, it's still versatile. You can still use it in a lot of occasions. I personally really appreciate that in the scent. They did a big one with this one. I'm not gonna lie. They definitely did a big one with this one. From a female standpoint, they're getting that fruitiness, they're getting that dark fruity scent that's like, ooh, okay. And it has that sexy and comfortable. It really, I think, personifies somebody who is mysterious, well put together, fashionable, but at the end of the day, it's sexy. That's all of that encapsulated in just a sexy profile. It's definitely something you can see a celebrity wearing. And for men, that Tabasco gives off a sense of masculinity. So you're working in such a nice sphere of sense in a way, because both sides, again, I do think it leans a tiny bit more masculine than feminine. Can women wear this? Absolutely, because like I said, that sweetness in it completely makes it both what do you call it? Unisex. And I just completely blanked out on the word for a minute. But yeah, that sweetness in it completely makes it unisex. The sexiness from the tobacco won't come off as like something that's overwhelmingly masculine. With that combination, it'll definitely mesh together to be something that's in between the two. So besides that, man, this is the first date. This is one of our first date bangers. We put this on the list. You guys know I'm very specific because I know that's where this particular cologne perfume shines, because it's one of those ones that's, all right, when you look at your top lineup, you're thinking, because I'm telling you guys, there's sometimes I'm stuck like an hour before the date. I'm like, what direction I'm going in? Any of my cologne perfume wears know, like, once that bad boy is on, it's on. And there's been times I done put that thing on, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just not feeling the vibe. I'm like, yo, why did I go this direction? And I gotta, you know, become a scientist, a mad scientist in the background, seeing what I can layer this thing with to put this thing together. And one day I will get into my different layers, because there's sense that, you know, depending on the mood, I'm like, yo, I shouldn't have did that. I gotta brighten the scent up a little bit. It's too dark. Like, it's not the direction I want to go in. And vice versa. Sometimes I put on a light sense. I'm like, this is just not, it's too weak for the first date. Like, it's not gonna get the desired effect. Like, You know, it's nothing worse than linking with somebody and meeting up with somebody, and they're like, you know, you guys are conversating, you having a grown, mature conversation that we have as adults, and you just ask them, you know, what do you look for in your next spouse, or what do you look for in a person, and they say, oh, I love a person that smells good, and you just staring at them like, oh my goodness, I know I got a light scent on right now, I should have went heavy, because I know they're not able to even smell this thing from across the table, or I know they're not able to smell this thing from where they at, so I should have laid it on a little heavy or went a little dark with the scent, but it happens to all of us. I will say, guys, that this one is one of those ones you don't have to worry about. You don't have to lay this thing. I will say you don't probably don't need as many sprays as do put on. I would say you're good here with about 6 sprays, 7 sprays, because it's powerful. But for it to retain that effect for a little while, you definitely want to get shit down. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to go on no 1, 2 unless you layer it with someone else. But I wouldn't advise that. And it's slowly starting to dry down, so I think we're gonna transition over. But like I said, first date, one of the most all-purpose scents that you could get. I wouldn't do this earlier in the day unless it's like a specific event. You can't pull this off like kind of brunch time. Like I said, picnic, I'm not doing this. If it's like one of those things, like one of those clique champagne events or more events, you guys, I don't know if you guys see those a lot. They do them a lot in New York City. If it's one of those things, you definitely could put this on because it lives in that world of like duality. But I would just stay away from maybe like early date type situations. You can wear this in the summer. Again, I'm just doing it at night. This is all purpose. First dates, special occasions, graduations, all those things. It's one of those colognes that or perfumes that really should be in your razzle and dazzle starter kit. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna let this thing dry down. We'll come back in a minute. Like,
One eternity later.
All right, guys, so we let this thing dry down a bit. Let's see how it smells. I will say it's still nice, but that opening is another level. This is one of those ones with the opening, it got the upper hand on the dry down. The dry down, it keeps the booziness, the sweetness mellows out a bit. It's still there, it's just less concentrated. When you first smell that spray on, that thing it pops out at you, just jumps out at you. Now it's a bit more hidden. The tobacco is there, same thing. Just a little faded, just not as strong. It don't give that punch. It don't have that punch of power that it had when you first do the spray on. I would say it's a bit more spicy. Some of the spices are coming up now, and it has matured. It turns into a more mature scent. Not as versatile in what you could do with this. Leaning, I would say a good significant amount more masculine. If you're a female and you want to wear this scent, I think you're gonna have to apply it ever so often to keep that fresh scent that you probably want, that sexy boozy scent that you're probably looking for. Because on the dry down, it will get darker. And I'm not sure, depending on your preference, that may not be what you're looking for in the scent. So you're gonna have to keep an eye on that. Make sure if you got a decant, you apply that thing every couple hours to make sure that scent stays fresh. Besides that, though, the dry down I think is it's still useful. It's not one of those scents that I think the dry down is completely useless. I do just think that it's underwhelming compared to that initial spray on. But I think it has its place. It's more, like I said, a spicier scent doesn't mean like a useless scent. I'm quite sure there are people who like the darker edge of this scent. I think it comes off as more mysterious. I think if you've been with somebody the whole night, they may appreciate it actually calming down a bit, maturing out a bit. You may appreciate it calming down a bit, maturing a little bit, because there are times where me personally, like I said, I don't love fruity scents. I could get them on, I could deal with them, but at the same time, it's like I like that maturing scent where it hits that sweet spot, where it's kind of when the fragrance is kind of in its prime, where it's really at its apex. Let's say this thing I think is a downhill type of scent. I'll call it something that it starts really high, and then because it started so high, the dry down kind of leaves you like. Ugh. But still a nice scent. I think it's going to be more of a skin scent at the point of dry down. I don't think it's going to be something that barks at anybody anymore, or screams at anybody anymore. It's going to be something that you're definitely going to have to, if you want it to still draw attention, it's going to have to be very close setting. What I could definitely say about the dry down without any debate, it's much creamier, more romantic. Like I said, it's going to be more of an intimate scent, something that you want to be really close to the person for them to get the full effect. And the dry down is just smoother. It's another side of the whole, like I said, the duality of this fragrance. And you're just not paying for the notes. You're just not paying for the bottle. You're paying for the journey it takes you on. And sometimes that journey is from, rags to riches, somebody from the bottom shooting up top. And sometimes that thing is, like I said, a downhill mountain climb, which is still exciting, still action packed, just a different type of experience. And I think, at least for me, guys, when I started realizing, how I could use both sides of those things, that's when I really got into to hitting my prime and my apex and my stride with the whole Cologne thing. So, guys, I think that's where we're gonna cut it for now. This has been Initio Side Effect. Like I said, guys, something that you want to get your hands on. They do have the decant boxes from Initio directly. As you can see, that's 12s. Here's a 4. I think this is an X-ray version. That's why it's the 4. But check out a couple of these. I will be back with a couple more. Like I said, I enjoy these fragrances. I enjoy the brand. They have a lot of bangers. So keep your eye out for that. And let me know, guys, what is your favorite thing about this scent? Do you think it has one of the best openings? Is it one of the best boozy fragrances out there? How does it compare to, like I said, things like angel share and other boozy scents like that? How does it compare to other tobacco scents? In your opinion, let me know. I want to hear you guys' opinion in the comments, guys. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for keeping up. We'll be back ASAP.
Guys, as always, thanks for watching. Please take a moment to like, comment, subscribe to keep the channel rocking and rolling. Also, don't forget to hit the hype button. And if by chance you're also into travel content, information about living abroad, or just want to support me more, hop over to my other channel, El Check-In, to get all the information you need. Let go.